Good morning, everybody, from me and my shikamaru hair. Digging it today. Just sort of happens. Alright, so today's myth is a good one, and it's kind of a twofer. This one is about Echo and Narcissus, and I'm actually going to start with Narcissus because he requires a little bit of explanation. I don't know if you've heard of anyone who's been called a narcissist or narcissistic. But normally, that's referring to a person who is incredibly self-absorbed. They're focused on themselves, in some way, focused on their beauty, focused on their achievements, focused on just themselves and not thinking about anyone else. Well, he's the origin story for that term. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so Narcissus. He was so good looking that people referred to him as beautiful, like he was a work of art. Okay, so he vowed to himself that if he were going to have a girlfriend or a wife, that they would have to be someone who met his level of perfection, because he himself was so beautiful that they would have to come to his level. And so he gradually got to the point where he really started to only love himself. He figured that he himself was the only example of perfection, and so all of that love became self-obsession, right? Okay, so here comes Echo. She used to talk all the time. Just would not stop. Okay? And one day, she made the mistake of telling Hera that Zeus was in town when really that wasn't the case. And Hera got so mad at Echo for just completely just jabbering and not telling the truth and just blah, 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 blah. And so Hera, in her anger, cursed her and said, I'm so tired of you talking, so now you don't even get to start your own sentences. The only things you can say are things other people have said. You can repeat what other people have said, but if nobody's talking, you cannot make a sound. That's how mad she was. Hera's pretty vindictive, too. So Echo goes from being Miss Chatterbox to totally quiet. But one day, she's in the forest. She's distraught. She can't say any of the things that are on her mind. And who does she see come through hunting but Narcissus? This beautiful man. She falls instantly in love with him, right? But she can't talk to him because she can't start her own sentences. She can only repeat what people have said. And so she's trying to get his attention, and she's trying to start some sort of conversation with this person, because again, she thinks he's gorgeous. So this is another one, big heart eyes, okay? And so she's calling, she's trying to make noise from the woods, and he's calling, who's there? Is anybody there? So now she can say, is anybody there? And she can repeat back what he says. And so this goes back and forth and goes back and forth. And finally he says, look, if someone is there, you just need to come out so we can walk on together. And she goes, walk on together. She runs out of the woods and she grabs him because she thinks that that's finally an invitation, for her to come and start a a real like relationship, a real interaction, and she's been starved for that for so long because she can't start her own sentences. And so she's holding on tight to him, and she's like, yes, walk on together, you know? And he's like, ugh, because she's not perfect. Like, he views himself as perfect. And so she's disgusting, I guess, to him. Just, oh, get off, okay? Well, that understandably hurts her feelings, right? So, her heart is broken. His heart is broken because he thinks that he was just, accosted by this terrible incident of someone who was imperfect and not beautiful like he was. He decides to go and stare at his own reflection in the water, at which point he falls in love with his own reflection, the image of perfection. And he literally lays next to the water, looking at his reflection, talking to his reflection, and he lays there until he dies, because nothing else is good enough. Nothing can tempt him away from his own face, that image of perfection. And Echo is still in these woods, so she's watching him from afar, and she can't say anything to him because she's been cursed. And so she just sits there and watches him kind of waste away. And then she wastes away herself. Is that not the most pitiful story you have ever heard? Two people that were ultimately so self-involved that one of them literally became obsessed with himself, and one of them was cursed because she just couldn't stop running her mouth and telling other people's business and telling lies. And these two people with these fatal flaws ended up doing basically nothing with their lives because they couldn't redeem themselves. Narcissus couldn't see the error of his ways. He couldn't see that perfection is not an attainable, goal. It's not a very real, realistic mindset to have. And Echo, she, abused her voice and abused her ability to be heard, and then she was cursed and she didn't get a second chance. The gods and goddesses in Greece will get there, but they're not known for second chances. They're pretty one and done. Like, by the time they get to the smiting and the cursing, you're just done for. So she didn't get a second chance. She didn't get a chance to learn from her mistakes and do better. And so both of them ultimately died. What a bummer. Alright, you know the drill. I'm going to post this. You're going to comment below in the Google Classroom thread. Let me know what you thought of it. And give me a little bit more than, it was fine. I mean, tell me something about the story. Did something resonate with you? Did you like somebody in the story? Did you hate somebody in the story? Did you think they were both stupid? Could you see where they were coming from? Anything like that. Okay? And just let me know. Okay? Remember, this is your daily work for attendance. Okay? Alright. Have a good day.